Hi, my name is Rebecca Baelen, and I'm here from the University of Pennsylvania to present on our findings from a study we conducted with first-year teachers from 3 teacher education programs. We were really interested in the transition to teaching, as this can be a time filled with uncertainty and self-doubt, doubts which lead to high levels of stress and burnout and eventually leaving the profession at times. So we were interested in focusing on the psychological dimension of teachers' lives to see if we could foster certain beliefs and mindsets and orientations towards teaching that would foster well-being, long-term commitment, job satisfaction, and a host of other outcomes. To do this, we conducted a double-blind, placebo-controlled longitudinal field experiment where we recruited teachers in the summer prior to their first year of teaching. And then they took a baseline survey, and in the late fall, they received a survey link. And upon clicking on the link, they were randomized into either this self-compassion training focused on instilling self-compassionate beliefs towards teaching and oneself, and then a control activity. So participants were randomized into one of those two conditions, and then immediately after completed a follow-up survey. And then 6 months later, they conducted a 6-month follow-up survey. 119 teachers from these programs participated. They completed either the control activity or the self-compassion training, along with the immediate post-training survey. And 118 teachers completed the 6-month follow-up survey. So we had attrition of less than 1% on that data. We were really interested in these primary outcomes over here, whether or not the training would lead to higher self-compassionate beliefs, a higher resilient mindset, growth orientation towards teaching, self-efficacy. So a lot of these beliefs and mindsets and orientations. And then later on, we measured these again, but we were also interested in whether or not the training led to changes in self-compassion, trait self-compassion, changes in mindfulness, well-being, stress, burnout, and commitment to the profession. Also, it's important to note that this training was very unique and it integrated techniques used in contemplative science research and also social psychological intervention research. So it was very novel. It was using social psychological techniques, often used in mindset interventions, to impart contemplative insights, and involved these 3 components here. We found that there was no main effects of the training on our primary and secondary outcomes. These were analyses that we pre-registered with aspredicted.org. We also pre-registered a number of exploratory analyses to look at moderation effects. And one of the things we were interested in to see was, did baseline commitment to teaching or baseline stress moderate the effect of the training on the outcomes of interest? We did find also here, we looked at race and gender and age and teaching program as other moderators, and found that those teachers who were highly committed to teaching at baseline, who underwent the training, fared very well and received significant positive benefits from this training. As you can see here as an example, at 6-month follow-up, teachers who were highly committed and received the training were higher in resilient mindset 6 months later after going through a 30-minute training. And this was also true for growth orientation towards teaching. And we saw this on a number of the other primary and secondary outcomes. We did see the adverse effect that were teachers who were low in baseline commitment to teaching, and in the training group, they ended up faring less well relative to the control group. So we see some interesting differential effects here. It suggests that this training, although only brief and 30 minutes, had impacts 6 months later, and there is value into studying this integration and this way of imparting contemplative insights and beliefs. However, it's really important to consider the heterogeneity of the treatment effects based on the different types of psychological dispositions teachers have coming into teaching, the context in which they're teaching. So further research and further studies might do well to tailor these trainings based on those factors. Thank you so much.